Keep rolling, bro. Oh, it didn't work with that one. I gotta try it again. Keep rolling. Yeah, this isn't gonna work, bro. We might as well do the video. Let's keep the video rolling then, right? Back in the mid-90s, rock band Limp Bizkit unmistakably had it. That indescribably something that takes your everyday average Joe and turns them into, well, Fred Durst. Say what you will about him, but the man was a bona fide rock god for a lengthy period of time. Alongside Wes Borland on guitar, Sam Rivers on bass, John Otto on drums, and DJ Lethal spinning the turntables, Limp Bizkit rocketed to the top of the music charts, earning themselves 3 Grammy nominations in the process. But by the early 2000s, it seemed like the audience demand for the band had fallen by wayside and limped off into the sunset. Now, Limp Bizkit is hinting that they're ready to drop their first album in 10 years, and Fred Durst has a whole new look to go along with it. How would I describe it? The same way that you probably would, with 2 words: dad vibes. Fred Durst was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and grew up in Gastonia in North Carolina. After graduating high school, he took up an interest in breakdancing and hip-hop. Before he could pursue his passion, he joined the Navy in 1988, serving 2 years before dropping out. Then in 1994, he'd meet the other members of the group that would become Limp Bizkit, and the band formed in 1995. Over the next handful of years, Limp Bizkit would release one hit record after another, starting with 1997's $3 Bill, Y'all, then 1999's Significant Other, as well as 2000's Chocolate Starfish and Hot Dog Flavored Water. The latter 2 albums would each go on to sell nearly 8 million copies worldwide. But after dominating the industry, Limp Bizkit wouldn't stay there for long. 3 key events would result in their eventual fall from grace and the end of their time at the top of the charts. First, the genre of music that Limp Bizkit dabbled heaviest in, nu metal, would more or less wear out its welcome as soon as it began. That's why other rock acts that started off in that same subgenre, say Linkin Park, would quickly move on to developing new sounds. Problem was, Limp Bizkit never really attempted to do the same.
This is a no-brainer. If I was 17, this would probably be my favorite band. And they pay off on those songs when that big guitar comes in. You can't help it. You're like, hell yeah, let's go wreck something.
Secondly, in the summer of 1999, the band famously took part in the Woodstock Music Festival and would become the scapegoat for everything that went wrong that weekend. During the band's performance of their single Break Stuff, the crowd decided to take Durst's lyrics, well, extremely literal.
Vandals toppled light stands and speakers. They destroyed tents and booths and set fire to a dozen parked tractor trailers. Why they started the fires is still unknown.
Beyond all the mayhem and destruction, several sexual would be reported in the aftermath of the event. Many critics would turn their wrath upon Durst, who was accusing of riling up the crowd and instigating the event. I mean, let's be honest here though. Getting a crowd pumped up is like 95% of a rock star's job. I mean, what else would you expect them to do? After Woodstock 99, Limp Bizkit's third and fatal strike took place. That's when bassist Wes Borland decided to drop out. By many accounts, Wes was the true creative genius behind the band, and it didn't take long for him to grow tired of Fred Durst.
You know, I couldn't listen to those songs. I couldn't listen to our records, and I couldn't really be proud of what I was doing and stand completely behind.
Without Wes around to keep things grounded, Durst took control of the band's direction. Their next album, 2003's Results May Vary, would wind up being very appropriately titled, and while the album moved some decent sales numbers, it wasn't nearly the success of their previous efforts. By 2004, Wes would return to the band, but now it was too little too late because even their fans were turning on them. During a particularly memorable performance at the 2005 Summer Sanitarium tour, the live audience began chanting Fred Durst and threw literal garbage on stage. Soon after, Limp Bizkit would announce that they were taking a hiatus. They would reunite over 5 years later in 2011 to release their most recent studio album, Gold Cobra, an album that would peak on the Billboard 200 chart at 16 and only sell around 63,000 copies in total. The band hasn't released another record since. After their first hiatus, the individual members of the band worked on a number of different projects. Fred actually became a behind-the-scenes music executive after being hired by Interscope Records as their senior vice president. During his time there, Fred's day-to-day mostly revolved around producing other artists' work, as well as directing music videos for acts like Stained, Court, and Dwight Yoakam. In fact, Fred has said that his true passion has always been in directing, an opportunity he would pursue over the course of the next few years by shooting films like The Education of Charlie Banks in 2007, The Long Shots in 2008, and 2019's The Fanatic with none other than John Travolta. Another one of Fred's endeavors is co-managing the artist known as Bones, who has his own buzz and was known for doing live shows that really captured the essence of those mid-90s Limp Bizkit shows. He also told Flipboard, "An artist I work with and I co-manage is very big underground. an urban rap group without commercial exposure at all, Team Sesh. They are only underground and they have a huge following. Bones would also have quite the interesting career working with people like A$AP Rocky, doing shows and features with him. He even got their live performance of Canal Street cut from Jimmy Kimmel because Bones refused to censor certain words. It's also clear that Fred has talents for, well, developing, emerging, and up-and-coming talent. A multifaceted icon, if you would. Meanwhile, Wes Borland founded a new rock group, Black Light Burns. He also made an experimental metal album under the moniker Big Dumb Face, a concept that he would eventually try to turn into a video game. When Wes realized that he needed around $1 million to get the game off of the ground, he decided to simply keep creating music instead. I don't blame you. Video games are expensive these days, ask the creators of Cyberpunk. But Wes wasn't the only former band member who would come and go. DJ Lethal would also quit the band in epic fashion right around 2012 by posting a legendary expletive-filled tweet aimed directly at Fred Durst. He would apologize for his actions later that year, rejoin the band, then split from them once again in 2013. Meanwhile, Sam Rivers became something of an independent producer, working specifically with bands from the Jacksonville area, while drummer John Otto taught music lessons and tried to get a rap career off the ground for himself. In between all of these side projects and occasional reunions, Limp Bizkit would be dropped from Interscope in 2011 after Gold Cobra failed to move the needle. Then there would be a brief deal with Cash Money Records, but after making a track with Lil Wayne called Ready to Go, this partnership would fizzle out and never amount to much of anything. Limp Bizkit would then go independent, and they've been promising the delivery of their next studio album, Stampede of the Disco Elephants, since around 2013. This project has become one of the longest gestating albums ever, with the boys fine-tuning it for nearly a decade now. While speaking with the Drinks with Johnny podcast, Wes told them that the album is 80% complete and that they've tried to finish it at least 7 different occasions. So what's the holdup? Well, according to Wes, it's the same thing it's always been. Fred. He told the podcast, Fred has been consistently kind of unsatisfied with where the vision is, I guess. So we've released singles like we did Ready to Go. We probably have 35 songs recorded instrumentally, and he's done vocals on them and then thrown the vocals away. You don't become a nu metal legend without also racking up a scandal or two, and that's exactly what happened in November of 2015, as Fred Durst was officially banned from Ukraine for 5 years. Now, why exactly was he banned? Well, Fred was doing a lot of work in Russia at the time, as there were a lot of plans to develop Russia's film industry and turn Crimea into a Russian Hollywood. Given that his wife is also Russian, that helped. Fred even said he would, quote, be happy with a Russian passport and a nice little house in Crimea. Well, the territory Crimea actually belonged to Ukraine before 2015, so it would strain the relationship between Fred Durst and Ukraine, as Russia had recently annexed them. Also, many actors and celebrities who were also attempting to develop Crimea would also be banned if they received Russian passports. Oliver Stone, Roy Jones Jr., and Steven Seagal were these celebrities, just to name a few. The Ukrainian publication Astropov reported that the ban had been imposed in November in, quote, in the interest of guaranteeing the security of our state. Politics are crazy, man. As Limp Bizkit slowly find their way back to relevancy a few months ago, Durst set the internet ablaze by revealing his brand new look, and released a totally appropriately titled single, Dad Vibes, to go along with it. Then the band reunited at Chicago's Lollapalooza to perform the new track and become the talk of the festival, even with other high-profile acts like Post Malone and Megan Thee Stallion performing as well. Before fans knew it, a whole new tour was in works. Of course, the then Delta variant took a hold of the US, and those plans have been thrown on the back burner, with Limp Bizkit announcing that they are postponing the tour until they can ensure the safety of their fans. So what do you guys think? Are you happy that Limp Bizkit seems poised to become relevant for the first time in decades? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Clyde Smith, and I'll see you all in another video.